Today's dish is called Sarde and Saor. It's sardines that are marinated with onion and vinegar. And it's one of the most popular dishes in Venice. It's really simple to make, and it's something completely different. I guarantee you've never had anything like this before. Venice isn't known as a good food destination, but it actually is. There's fantastic food all over Venice. This is one of the most popular dishes there. It's essentially a sweet and sour dish. It was a way for the fishermen to preserve their catch because there was no refrigeration. So they would cook it, let it marinate, and then they could eat it over the course of the next few days. So I want to show you how to make it. You just need fresh sardines, lots of onions, some good vinegar, and a couple other things here and there. This is what fresh sardines look like, and I got these from my fishmonger. So not only are they nice and fresh, but he took the heads off, he gutted them, he took the bones out. If you can find fresh sardines, this is definitely the way to go. It's going to be a challenge for some people to find them fresh. You might be able to find them frozen though. A lot of supermarkets will have them frozen. Then you might just have to clean them yourself. If you can't find fresh sardines or you don't want to use them, you can use other fish. You could use smelts, you could use herring. It's the technique and the freshness that's really going to make this dish. We're going to start with the onions because they're going to take the longest to cook. I've got a wide pan over a medium heat. I'm going to add some olive oil, then we're going to add the onions. We need a lot of onions. I've got a link to a printable recipe below, but you basically want to just think in terms of 2 to 1. For every 1 part fish, you want 2 parts onion. All we need to do now is give it some salt, give it a stir, we'll add a couple of bay leaves, we'll cover it up, and we're going to let it go for a while, but we need to check it every couple of minutes. You might also want to have some water just in case it starts looking a little dry and it looks like it's cooking too quick. Just add a little bit of water, put the cover back on, and in about 20 minutes you're going to have this. This is what we're looking for. They've been stewing for a little while now. The onions are nice and soft and nice and sweet. At this point, we need to add the vinegar. This is the sour component. The sweet component is the onion. We also want to add a little bit of richness. So we'll put in some pine nuts, which I didn't toast because they would have too much flavor. We're also going to add a little bit to the sweetness. I plumped up some raisins by soaking them in some warm water for about 15 minutes. And I just drained them, and now we'll add this to the onions. At this point, we can shut the onions off. They're done, they're cooked. We'll let that sit while we deal with the fish. The next step is to fry these sardines. I've just got a little fry station set up with the fresh sardines and some flour. I just need to add some salt to the flour to season the sardines. Then I want to dip them in the flour, shake off the excess, and just set them aside. While I was doing that, I put on a wok over high heat, and I got the temperature of the oil to about 350 degrees. I only put about 5 or 6 sardines in at a time because I don't want to crowd the pan. I want to make sure the oil stays hot. After a couple of minutes, I just turn them over a little bit and finish cooking them for a further 2 more minutes maybe. At that point, I just set them aside to drain so that we get a lot of that oil out and just continue the process. Once I have all of the sardines fried, now it's time to assemble the dish. I've got a casserole dish here, and we're going to make almost like a lasagna. I want to put the onions on the bottom, layer it with the fish, and then I want to put more onion over the top, then another layer of fish, and then more onion. I've got plenty of that vinegar left, so I want to spoon that over the top and make sure that we've got everything in there. Technically, you could eat this at this point. It is ready to eat. But this is a dish that is much, much better when you leave it overnight. All the flavors have time to meld together. The vinegar really tones down. It gets way more mellow. So I'm going to put this in the fridge overnight, and I'm going to give it a taste tomorrow. All right, so next day now, so we're ready to taste. You want to take this out of the fridge about an hour before you serve it. It should be around room temperature. There are 2 basic ways that you would find this in Venice. You'd either get it as cicchetti, which are like tapas in Venice, where you go into a local bar, you get a glass of wine, and they'll give you a piece of bread with some of this on top as like a snack to eat with your wine. The other way is as a main course, where you would have a bigger portion with some grilled polenta on the side. That's almost always the case. I'll be the first to admit this is not the prettiest looking dish, but it tastes better than it looks, trust me. Now this was really worth the wait. The fish tastes nice and fresh. Then you've got the sweet and sour with the onions and the raisins. The vinegar has mellowed out completely. Overall, it's just a really interesting and different way to eat fish. I really hope you give this dish a shot. It's really unusual and so delicious. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and we'll see you in the next video.